any of you experiencing bloating, abdominal pain, diarrhea, constipation, headaches, fatigue, joint pain, skin rashes, depression, anxiety, anemia, nausea, or gas? Well, these symptoms could be a sign that you have a food allergy or a food intolerance, and you should work with your healthcare professional to determine if that is the case. Sometimes we can brush off a headache as just a headache. Maybe you were slumped at the computer that day, but maybe it's not. A food allergy is an immune system response when you have eaten something that your body determines to be harmful, and it sends out antibodies to attack that food or that invader. Many times you will get hives or go into anaphylactic shock. That would be a food allergy. Food intolerance is a digestive system response rather than an immune system response. And you are not able to properly break down that food and digest it. Perhaps you have a lactose intolerance, and what is happening is your body does not have enough of the enzyme lactase to properly digest the lactose that is in the dairy product. And continually eating the foods that your body is sensitive to will over time break down the cell walls of your intestinal, the cell walls of your intestine, and it will be the beginning of many health problems, as well as causing your body to not be able to absorb the nutrition from the foods you are eating. And The Plant Paradox by Stephen Gundry goes into explanation of the cell wall breakdown of your intestine in great detail, very easy to understand. I highly recommend that book. So I have a quote here from Josh Billings, and it is, "Health is like money. We never have a true idea of its value until we lose it." How true is that? I'm sure we've all been told many times about things we shouldn't do or eat, like candy, for instance. We're told, how candy should be not eaten too often or at all, but we do it anyway, till maybe you get a toothache and you're eating the candy and it really aggravates the cavity. The pain is just intense. So you then stay off the candy until you get your tooth fixed, and then you're right back on the candy. So Josh Billings really nailed that one very well. So the food enzymes that we were talking about, breaking down your food, let's hit on that a little bit. Food enzymes are present in many raw and many raw fermented foods. And if you're eating a diet that is composed mainly of cooked foods, then you're putting a heavy strain on your pancreas where these enzymes are produced, and it's hindering the ability for your pancreas to produce these enzymes. So you could eat foods that have a high enzyme content, foods like extra virgin olive oil, bananas, papayas, kiwis, dates, figs, raw honey, grapes, avocados, pineapple, mangoes. I think I hit all of them. And fermented foods are particularly helpful in starting the digestion process. And they reduce the body's need to produce the digestive enzymes. So I have a couple books here that have some really great recipes for creating your own fermented foods. Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon has some great, I make her sauerkraut recipe that's in here all the time. Unfortunately, we do not own this book here at the library, but you can interlibrary loan it. It's a great way to get some reads that we don't own. And then we have Raw Food by Annie Fio, and that has some great fermented recipes as well. And it's so simple to make the fermented foods, and all you do is mix it with some salt, and it sits on the counter or a warm place in your kitchen, and it naturally ferments. It's not made from vinegar like pickles and sauerkraut that you typically buy at the store. Vinegar has pickling with vinegar is a new process that came about as a way to mass produce pickled items. They're not equal in the health benefits as proper fermented vegetables. So something to look into. For many people, the presence of food allergies and the necessity to restrict food choices is an unwelcomed barrier to the joy of eating. The severity of food allergies and food intolerances varies from person to person, but the typical foods that cause problems are soy, corn, shellfish, dairy, nuts, gluten, eggs, food additives, artificial colors, sulfites, livestock that's been raised on corn and soy, so that would be like beef, lamb, pork, even chicken. There's a lot of corn and soy in the chicken grains, so if you have a corn and soy allergy, you would need to be mindful of those things as well. So it's important to educate yourself and learn about the ingredients in the foods you're eating. If you're buying salad dressing or a boxed cereal, which isn't good for you anyway, maybe some pre-made cookies or crackers, I really encourage you to create your own foods. It's an easy way to know what's going into the things that are going into you and making you the person that you are. We will be doing a series of gluten-free videos. I encourage you to watch them even if you have a different allergy, because there are ways that you can adapt them as well. And I may not always mention it in the video, but I will definitely have it posted in the ingredient list of alternatives that you could swap things out with. And you want to also educate yourself to know what foods can be labeled as, because many foods can fall under different names. It might not necessarily say milk in the ingredient listing. And I would like to just close with a couple of quotes. "It is easier to change a man's religion than to change his diet." And that is a quote by Margaret Mead. And how true that is. We're very resistant to change, and especially when we think that foods taste good and we are not willing to give them up, even if it means it could be killing us in the end. I have another quote here by Maimonides, and it is, "No disease that can be treated by diet should be treated by any other means." I encourage you to keep a food diary and to work with a healthcare professional to embark on an elimination diet and find the foods that are causing your symptoms. And I challenge you to find a nutritional lifestyle and stick with it that works for you. Have a great day.